So we're going to talk about just a couple things here. We're going to review Sage's BIM estimating model approach. We'll look at integration with Navisworks, and we'll also look at integration with Assemble Systems. So with that, we have a process here that Sage that when you're going to do takeoff, we have called this in the past Estimating's next generation estimating solution, excuse me. And so when you get your information, you're going to get it either from a drawing or a model. And you're going to take that into either eTakeoff Dimension or into Autodesk Assemble or Navisworks. Those are kind of industry-leading, best-in-class solutions that allow you to do the takeoff and to read the model and do your takeoff there. We're going to take the information from those best-in-class solutions and bring it into Bridge. And Bridge is that software that bridges or ties together the takeoff and the estimate. And so Bridge will do that linking for us there. You'll notice that all of the arrows are flowing down from the takeoff to the estimate, but we can also go back from the estimate back to takeoff to see where did measurement come from, where did we get a particular quantity from, or something like that in our estimate. And this works on 2D, but it also works on 3D, as you can see. And today we will be concentrating, of course, on this 3D workflow from the model to Bridge to estimating and then back again. With Assemble Systems, we've got a little bit different process than we do with Navisworks. And so with Assemble Systems, we're going to go from Revit to the Assemble website. We're going to go from the Assemble website, we're going to look at a product called the Assemble Desktop. And from the Assemble Desktop, we go into eTakeoff Bridge and then into estimating. So a few steps there, but it works great, and we can get our information directly out of the Assemble model and into the estimate from that program as well. So with that, let's take a look. We are today going to start with Navisworks. And so this obviously is Navisworks, and we've got several things going here. There we are. First of all, the model, and I've got my little navigation kind of set up over here on the right, and so I can spin around and look at the model. We've got the, I've got properties over here, so if I select a wall or something like that, if I select this wall here, and I look at the properties over here, I can see some of these properties, and not a lot on this wall here. Maybe this wall has some properties. Not there either. So, but there are properties that we can have on walls and windows, doors. Any object in the model has properties, and we'll please keep that in mind. Over here on the left, we have this selection tree. And the selection tree is where we can drill down to see different objects within the model. As you can see here, I've got level 1, and there's some walls, there's exterior walls and interior walls. And if I click on, you can see if I expand this one, it's going to this exterior wall, and this is the wall that is highlighted right here, this masonry concrete unit wall, basic wall. If I look at the interior walls, we've got the same kind of thing here. There's an interior wall, and it's hidden somewhere inside the model there, but what I can do is show the selected up here. And so there is the wall within the model. Now this that I just clicked on is the eTakeoff menu ribbon, or ribbon bar. And so when we install the Navisworks integrator, we get this real nice simple 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 buttons, and we can use, estimators can use this to work with the model. Revit or Navisworks has a lot of features to it, as you can see as I kind of click through the buttons here. There's the home button and the viewpoint button and the review button tab. So there's a lot that's here, and it's powerful. Yeah, a lot of people use it for clash detection and other things of that nature. But we are going to use it today for takeoff, obviously. And so, oh goodness. Love it when Outlook does that to us. So we've got this basic wall here, and we've seen where it is. And if we, maybe this one has properties. This one does have properties to it, so I can see there's the element ID. There's all kinds of information here on that element as well. And let's see here, the object. And so there's all, you can see there's lots of different different properties that we have on this wall. Now that's great. What we have to do is make those we have to make sure we can get those properties into estimating, and that is the challenging part. But what we can do here is a couple things. Let's do this. Let's sync the takeoff, and when we do that, that starts to display information down here in what's called the quantification workbook. And so I'm going to close Outlook here just to get those out of the way. All right, so there we go. All right, so this is the quantification workbook. It is kind of Navisworks' way of kind of trying to collate and grab the information that we have on these different objects and display them down here for us. You can do a export to Excel of this information, but it does leave a little bit to be desired, at least in my opinion. But what we can look at here is I clicked on this basic wall right here, and it says, here's that basic wall. It is 21 feet long, it is 1.156 feet wide, and it is 26 feet tall. And it is, I believe I can see it around here on the side. There it is. The blue wall is the wall that we're looking at right here. It's an exterior wall, and so it gives us the area, and it gives us the volume, and all of this information just comes right out of the model as the characteristics of the properties of the object. Now that means, what does that, do we care? And the answer is yes, we do care. Number one is we may have to rejigger our assemblies just a bit, because some of the information that we typically calculated in estimating is now provided for us in the model. For example, if I wanted to get the volume of that wall for some reason, maybe I was filling the block cells or something like that, I don't need to calculate it. I can just get the volume right here. Same thing works for slabs. We'll talk about floor slabs here in a bit. And I don't need to have the area times the depth times I can just use the volume that's in the floor slab object. And so let's go here, and I've got the concrete slab. And so that's the first floor slab. It's a 4-inch concrete slab, and you can see the thickness is 4 inches, and it's got an area and a volume already figured or calculated from the model. So please keep that in mind as we go through things today, is that things are just a little different in a model than they are in a 2D takeoff. So as we go along here, let's get these kind of, we're gonna do, let's see here, basic walls, okay. As we look at these interior walls here, I just clicked on, there's a family, I believe is the correct name. There's the exterior walls, here's the interior walls. And what we can do here is, this is an e-takeoff bridge panel that displays right here, a unique panel that just for us here with takeoff. And what we can do is we can come in here and we can right click and we can append a description. And I'm going to say this is interior, and this is floor 1, I believe. Yes, okay. And I'm going to press enter, and it will append that description to the object name. So it now can do, we did that, and you don't have to, but we'll see how this works later on, because this interior floor 1 can become a location in our estimating system. So we've done that, and now what we need to do, one of the things about models is they're great, and like they do contain this information for the objects and things like that, but we do need to make sure that the model is conditioned correctly. Do we have all the information we need And is it correct? Is the wall the correct height? Is it the correct thickness? Is it a wall? All these questions. And so the quality of the model makes a big difference in what we are going to be able to do with the model. So a lot of your time, or some of your time, may be spent conditioning the model. Takeoff is going to be really easy once the model is conditioned, though. The way we're going to do that is we are going to start Bridge. Remember, Bridge is that software that ties the estimate to the takeoff. We're going to say yes. And I'm going to call this Navisworks Stein Office. There we go. And I've selected the catalog. I'm going to create the estimate here in Bridge. S-T-I-N. Don't need a D in there. Select the database. I'm going to put this in this tree or branch of my estimating folder structure, and everything standard, that looks right. And so I'm going to click OK. And so now I am, this is of course eTakeoff Bridge, and it is very simple, right? There's only these 3 tabs, and settings is really simple. Very, just a few buttons up here, but even though it's simple, it's still very powerful. What it's doing is displaying our Sage database right here. And so these are the items in our Sage database. I can drill down to doors and whatever, wood doors, and there's our wood door items in our Sage database. I can also look at assemblies, and so here are assemblies, and if I go to, excuse me, if I go here, there's some wall assemblies and things like that. So it's displaying those. Why is it displaying those? Because I may want to set up some mapping. Maybe I've done some unique item takeoff, or I want to do some other things. But generally speaking, the work of mapping is once mapped, always mapped. And so once you get something done, you're good to go. So what I can do is I can say, I'm going to sit on this basic wall over here in the selection tree in Navisworks. And I know that I want to send that to a particular assembly here in Sage. And so what I'm going to do is I've displayed it here in the eTakeoff panel, and I'm going to drag and drop that down like that. And it says, great, here you go. In Bridge, here is the length. This is what the assembly expects. It's a very simple assembly. As you can see, only a couple of questions. Length and height of the walls. And then we also have so this is what the assembly expects. And over here on the right is the information we have from the model, including the object height and the object length right there. So there's the length, there's the height. All we did to start this out when we mapped this was drag this to this and that to that, just like that. That's one time. You only need to map once in Navisworks. Once mapped, always mapped. So once I've done this, I'm good to go for every other project that I'm working on. And I can also share these mappings with other people in my company. So once mapped, always mapped. This is what the assembly expects up here. Down here in the bottom in the estimate detail area is the we can map WBS codes. And so I haven't mapped a lot here. There's some there with the unit format, but there's that interior floor 1 that we entered right here in the wall description, and that's now mapped to the location. And that was done here. Description 1 goes down to location. So we've got those mapped, and now what I can do is run the pass. And if you're familiar with estimating, you know how a pass works. And so when I do that, it will generate quantities. There we go. It's got labor to hang the gypboard and gypboard all sizes, and it's got it all ready to go. And I can set it to fully automatic and send it to the estimate. Now I just showed you that. That's the manual way to do it. You don't. That's obviously kind of slow and tedious, especially if I have hundreds of walls. But what we can do, we don't really run manual very often. What we do is we get it set up in manual, and then we run it in automatic. And so here is automatic mode. Here are all those walls. Some exterior, some interior. They're all ready to go. We'll talk about the floor down here in the bottom in a minute, but I've set these all to fully automatic. And what I can do is submit all of those at once. And so I get those going, and it's going to just bring them up here and get us set for bringing all of those measurements over. 68 measurements were sent. Good deal. Okay. So now then, let's talk about these two. I've got the floor here, and I think this is floor 1 and floor 2. And if I look at this one here, double click on it, what I did is I said, you know what? A lot of this information would be really tough to get into, say, just to get into the quantification workbook. So what I did is I set these are now set to semi-automatic mode. Instead of fully automatic, where I just send them over, I send them to semi-automatic because I want to stop here in Bridge and I want to check out these variables. So these are the variables in my Sage assembly, right? And so I'm going to say, well, the depth of gravel, let's see, the specs call for 6 inches of gravel, and vapor barrier code, we're going to use 2, and the concrete strength we're going to say is 3,500. So I can do that, and I can stop here in Bridge, and then I can add the pass. Notice that we did select 3,500 PSI concrete down here, and I can send that to the estimate. I can do the same thing for the second floor. This is a suspended slab. It's a little bit simpler in this case, but notice here is the slab volume. I'm not calculating the slab volume from the area and the depth. I'm just saying grab the slab volume, which is this model volume property over here. So it's already calculated for me. So I did have to modify the assembly slightly to take advantage of that. I suppose you could do area and depth if you wanted to, but if there's any thickened slab areas or anything like that, this might be a more accurate way to do it. Just a thought, but and just wanted to point that out as well. And so again, I can go through here and I can change whatever I want to do, and I'm just going to use welded wire sheets, and I'm going to click the plus to run the pass, and I'm going to send that over to the estimate. So I've shown you both fully automatic and semi-automatic methods for sending things to the estimate. If we go to the estimate now, we can close Bridge and go to the estimate. And here is our estimate. Now we have all the usual ways we can slice and dice our estimate and work with it here in estimating, and we can sort it by assembly. Those are the 2 slabs, the 355C and the 383 CAD are ones I created for those slabs. This one is the first floor, and this one is the second floor. Got all of these walls and different things. There's the exterior block walls, and then down here, the 932s are all of the interior walls. Okay, so we've sent things over to the estimate. Remember from our diagram up there, we said those arrows went both ways. We've sent things to the estimate, but we could also drill down from the estimate back to takeoff. And that's what we're going to look at now. So I'm going to look at this concrete block here because it's a nice graphic thing and easy to see. And it says that we have 461 standard 8-inch block on that wall. I want to see where that really is. And so I'm going to right click and I'm going to drill down to Bridge. And it opens up Bridge here. And it says this is the information that we used, that the assembly expects. And there's the object in the model right here in the front of the building. So that is that's a way we can drill down and we can see, okay, well, there's the wall and it's 40.9 feet long, and it's 10 feet high, and there's the area and the volume. So you can drill down really easily, just like you can in 2D, you can drill down in 3D. And also keep in mind that you can have both 2D and 3D feeding the same model. So we could do that as well. So now, what happens if we get a change in the model? And I know models never change, especially during the design process, but just in case they did, what do? Well, Bridge is going to help us out a little bit here. And so if I compare the model button up here in the e-takeoff ribbon, I'll see if I'm going to compare the model. And so I'm going to say that I want to see a Navisworks drawing file. And here is my changed drawing, my revised drawing. And I'm going to say, yes, change it. And watch the height of this wall as it goes through and finds, and there's a change. So the parapet wall got a couple feet taller. And there's other changes in here that I don't know about. I can see that one really easily, right? So let's take a look here. What can we do? Because one of the things that's really kind of tedious is finding all the changes. Well, Bridge will help us do that. Let's start Bridge again, and let's say, okay, Bridge, these are all the assignments. These are all of the original assignments that we sent to the estimate from the model. There's that curved wall that we just looked at there, that exterior wall, but nothing's changed. So let's refresh the assignment list here. And Bridge will go out and find all the changes, It'll find these with the pencil are the revisions. This one here that's red is deletions, is a deletion, and there's others down here. And we'll also see that there are additions. We added the model, the walls were added to the model. So what we can do here is I'm going to filter out this stuff, and I'm going to say, these right here are all unchanged. So I'm just going to filter those out. And here are the changes to the basic wall and these other walls here. So what I can do is come in here and I can say, well, there's the curved wall. Here's the change. It's the same length, it just got 2 feet taller. So what I can do here is I'm going to go ahead and process this. But when I do, watch the numbers down here in the bottom. It's going to change them. Now we have 553 block instead of 461. And I can send that to the estimate. And now I come here and there's another concrete block and block wall. This one got a little longer, stayed same height, but got a little longer. So I can make that change and send it to the estimate. Now, here's a deleted wall. And I know that because it's red, and there, what it's doing is zeroing out that wall. And again, I can watch these the quantity numbers. So if I do this, it takes them all away, and I send that to the estimate. So that's great. What I can do too is this button is now active, the fully automatic button. And so I can process all of these automatically. It'll say, append a description to the assemblies. If I've done assembly takeoff for my items, it'll append a description to the assembly name. I'm going to say yes, and it's going to process all 9 of those changes automatically. So again, you can say, and these are, there was an error when updating these. These are the floors. These are semi-automatic, so they weren't processed fully automatically. Again, this changed just a little bit, and I would need to do this one, and then I can send that over to the estimate. So let's, but what we can do here, let's keep going here, is those are the review. We reviewed that, and that review showed us the revisions and the deletions. Automatic shows us the additions. So we have 3 kinds of changes in the model: additions, deletions, and revisions. We've caught all 3 of those, and Bridge caught them for us. We didn't have to go through the model and search for them. Now I can just process those, and those 6 assignments are going over, and I can click OK when they're done. And now I can close Bridge and go to the estimate. So let's do that, and I'll just do, I get too many open here. There we go. There's the estimate. If I flip to assembly view, you can see there's one that we got. Some of these I did before. Some of these did not change. Some walls did not change. Some walls we processed the change before I hit that automatic button, but some of these now have the Rev 2. And if I make this a little wider, we'll see those Rev 2 ones in here as well. There's one. They're kind of few and far between, but you can see now I know which walls were changed as part of Rev 2. So that's kind of what I wanted to show you with Navisworks. It's got a lot of features and functions there that will help us. It makes takeoff a lot quicker. Again, you do need to spend time to get your to get the model conditioned. Especially great if you have in-house, if you're doing in-house design, then you can kind of control that a little more than if you're going out to your local architect or engineer. All right, now we are also going to talk about Navisworks. So Navisworks is cloud-based, and I'm going to give me just a second here to log in. And we're going to close that so we can see all the detail on the website here. So like I say, as you may or may not know, Assemble Systems is cloud-based. It is a collaboration platform. It is a system of engagement to condition, organize, and connect your project team. All the information is here on the web, and we are going to take advantage of some of that here. And you can see I got a lot of projects, sample and testing and all kinds of good things here. So we're going to go down here and we're going to look at the same project that we just did, only in Assemble Systems. And so here's Stein Office Building, and we have views that we can take. And so we got all models. This is all the different models that make up the composite models. So there's the architectural, and I don't think this model has it, but it'd be the architectural, the structural, the mechanical, the electrical models, all combined together to create one. We have, so that's what this one would look like, and we can bring that up and we can see the model over here on the right and the objects here on the left. And if I zoom in and I can pan around, and there's our model just like that. So that looks pretty familiar, right? And here is the different objects here. There's the floors here that we looked at, and there I can highlight the floor, and I don't know if you saw it go on, but I'm highlighting the first floor in the model, or the second floor there in the model. I've also got walls, and so there's the basic walls here, and I can drill down here and see that one wall. There's our famous parapet wall there. And so you can start to drill down and work with the different objects in here. And there's a lot here in Assemble Systems. There's ways to view this. There's ways to explode the view or ghost a view. Ghost view, kind of cool. Let's see if we can do that one here. Floors, let's do this, and then ghost it. And so then it kind of highlights the, well, it does. Anyway, ghost is kind of fun. Explode explodes the model up and does this and kind of breaks it apart like that, so you can see the different model exploded. And so there's different things you can do there, but the main thing about Assemble Systems is its ability to condition the model. And so if I come over here to doors, and I look at, I think I want to look at, maybe it's these. If I look at this door here, there are properties here, just like we had properties in Navisworks, but in Assemble, we can create our own properties. And we can pass those properties to, we can start to work with those properties. And so here are our properties. These are Assemble properties here. And then I also have, there's the schedule, and here's the model properties. So these are the actual object properties. And then these are Assemble properties that people have assigned here in Assemble Systems. Now here, I'm sitting on a door, right? And so if we look at the door model properties, there's the there's the area, and there's the size, 72 inches by 84 inches. Well, that's great, but anytime you want to enter a variable in Sage, you need to have it needs to be an integer. So 72 double quote x space 84 double quote, like you see right here on this line, doesn't mean a thing to Sage Estimating. But what we can do is we can create a Sage property called door size. And that's what I did here. This could be 7284. Now I can pass that to a Sage assembly. And so this is one of the things that I really like about Assemble is I can create these different properties, and then I can pass them to the Sage assembly, and I don't have to. I can automatically send those kinds of things over. Now, the good news is I can do that. The maybe not so good news is I have to condition the model and include this information on all the doors. I can group the doors over here on the left. Here's all my 72 by 84 inch doors, so I can enter those all at once. But I do need to enter those into the system. So this is Assemble Systems. Let's go back here to another view. We're going to look again at the walls. Just that's what we did in Navisworks. I'm going to discard those changes. And so here's the walls. And again, you can see there's that parapet wall right there. And here is the wall itself. And I can look at the properties of that wall as well here in the view. This is just a different view. It's displaying just the walls in this case, so I don't have to look at all the other stuff in the model. For instance, if I don't want to look at all the mechanical stuff, but just the walls, because that's what I'm working with, or just the structure, because that's what I'm working with, or just the mechanical, whatever. You can create these views. And so I've got this view of the walls. So I've worked with the walls, I've conditioned the model so that I know that everything looks right and works right here. And so what I want to do now is bring up what's called the Assemble Bridge. This is the Assemble Bridge, and I'm going to bring up our e-takeoff bridge here, and I'm going to put them side by side on our screen like this. So the Assemble Bridge here on the left is a viewer. It allows us to view the properties of the model. I can't change anything in the viewer, in the bridge, in the Assemble Bridge, but I certainly can view things, and I can view the model. There's the model, and I can look at it and zoom in and out in that. Here in e-takeoff bridge, I'm going to create a new bridge, and I'm going to call this Stein. And I'm going to leave that, and I'm going to create a new estimate, and we'll call it, and I'm going to do that, and the project is not, our source is not Navisworks, it's now Assemble, and the project is down here at the bottom, it is Stein Office Building. Okay. All right, so again, bridge displays what's in our estimating database. And we can come over here to the viewer, and we can say, I want to look at the interior walls, and there's the interior walls, and I want to see the properties of that wall here. Let's do this. Show the properties of the selected wall. And so I've got the height and the length and the base level. What I want to do is say, you know what, that goes to this. I want those interior walls, that one wall, but I want all of those to go to the 932S assembly. So I'm going to take these, and I am going to save those mappings, and I'm going to come over here, and I'm going to paste, let's see here. been a while since I've done this one, so I want to do this and show the properties. There we go. Okay. All right. The base level, and the height and the length. And I'm going to drag that over here. I would drag the wall, not the properties. I'm going to drop it on 932S. And it says, okay, here we go. Here's the length and the height of the wall. And I need to, I'm going to set that to fully automatic. The length is 0. I'm going to do that to map it. And I am going to send that to the, map that and send it to the estimate like that. It's fully automatic. So what I've done is set that wall to fully automatic, and it says, oh, all of the walls. We're going to set all those walls to fully automatic, the same ones, and I'm going to send those walls over as well. It's going to send over 67 walls to the estimate. And so those are over the interior walls. I think I mapped the exterior walls in a previous demonstration, and that's why they're over there. Everything that's green has already been sent to the estimate, as you'll notice here. And it's also got this little icon up here by the wall object itself. So those objects from the model have all been sent to the estimate. Now let's close this and go to the estimate and minimize this. And here is our Stein office. And again, we can view assemblies. There are the different assemblies that we have, and there is that block wall for the wall for that parapet in the front. We can do the same thing here. We can drill down the bridge, and it will open up the right bridge for that project. There it says 10 feet tall, and it will highlight it in Assemble Bridge. So it's highlighted here, and it's highlighted here, and we can see again, where did that information come from? Right there. Okay, so that is that's how we can send information to an estimate, or to an estimate from an assemble model, and how we can drill down. Now, in Navisworks, I showed you what we can do with a change, and we can do the same thing in Assemble. I just need to be able to show you here in a slide presentation because I don't have, that process requires Revit, and I don't have Revit on my machine. So what we're going to do here is switch back to the slideshow, and I'll show you from the current slide here. So the revisions in Assemble follow the same process. You make the revision in Revit, publish it to the Assemble website, and then the Assemble desktop can grab it, push it. You can then do the bridge assignment refresh, and then push that into estimating. But the process starts in Revit. You can publish a model to the Assemble website from within Revit. And we're going to, again, here it's the Stein office building. And the models to publish, you're going to publish the architecture. And here's the kicker, is that this is version 2. Version 1 is replaced. So we will not be able to, the estimating is always going to look at the most current version. So it will publish version 2 to the website. And there it's going to publish it. And now we can go to the Assemble Bridge, and we can look at, we're looking at the all model view here. And so there's the walls, and here are the walls of that in that model. And so we've got it, obviously the Assemble Bridge is on the left and the E-Takeoff Bridge is on the right. There are some changes. We can see a change there on the right. The green on the left are items, remember, that we've already sent to the estimate. There's one wall in there that we can't really see, but if we zoom in tight, you can see it's right there. And so that's a wall that we need to revise or add in this case. So we're going to add that, and then we can look at the automatic mode, And here are the review mode, excuse me, and we can see that there are 3 walls that changed and 1 that got deleted, and there's one of the walls that got added, and we can process that one. There's 1 that got deleted, and so we can process that, and now our estimate is updated. So it's the very same kind of process. We just need to start it with Revit instead of in Navisworks. Say thank you for your time, and please do stay safe and well out there, and hope to talk to you soon.